This is Rinat Zerbaylu for Innomind.org. Today I'm reviewing singular software, PluralEyes. It's a plugin, it's an add-on to nonlinear video editing applications such as Final Cut Pro, Sony Vegas Pro, as well as lately they introduced a beta version for Adobe Premiere Pro CS4 as well as CS5. Essentially what this plugin promises is ability to synchronize audio clips from multiple camcorders. So let's suppose you are recording a scene, an interview with multiple camcorders. You can just have one microphone hooked up to one camcorder, and the rest of the camcorders would be practically recording from their onboard microphones. And it doesn't matter at which points those camcorders were turned on or turned off, because this software promises to synchronize the audio clips by simply having them on the timeline, and it just goes ahead and analyzes.
I'm a filmmaker and a writer, and I've done a little bit of multi-camera work before, but it was a while ago, found it frustrating.
What platform were you using?
I was using Final Cut, and I think that they've changed things now and added some multi-camera support, but I haven't touched it since.
Okay, so this particular footage, there are 3 clips. It's in AVC HD, and Sony supports that, and it works perfectly. I mean, better than Premiere, for instance.
Sure.
And this is the audio source from the cam A cam, and this is the B cam. Okay, so that's also with the audio source. It's actually one of those handheld.
So now with that, I see
cameras.
you just dragged it all down.
I just dragged it all down, and as you could see, it's got the like it's right next to each other.
Yeah.
Although they're not synchronized at all, right? So we're gonna use this particular plugin. Okay, it's called PluralEyes.
Okay.
And normally you would go to Tools, Extensions, PluralEyes, but I made a shortcut here. It's a button. So you just hit on there and go ahead and just hit sync, Sean.
Wow, I'm a little nervous.
You think it's going to blow
I don't know,
up or something?
I mean, because normally I would have to manually have to drag that all over the place.
You need to synchronize the audio?
I can't see how it's possibly going to know how to sync that to that, but I'm going to go ahead and press sync and see what happens.
Let's see this perform.
So now it's analyzing.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute or so. You know what's funny is that none of the nonlinear editing application manufacturers ever thought of something like this before. I mean, this company claims that they're using some kind of mathematical, scientific approach to finding the the peaks.
It's analyzing the audio to sync them up.
It finds the peaks apparently somehow.
Well, it seems really great because I mean now with cameras being so cheap, it's easy to have 2 cameras or more than that. And by the way, would this work with 3 cameras or just 2 cameras?
Yeah, it can work as many cameras as you want.
So I mean, you could have 3 cameras, but sometimes it wouldn't seem like it would be worth it to shoot another camera for certain tasks because I don't have the time to deal with post-production.
And the time code, right? Like back in the days, the broadcast cameras, they used the what is it called? SMTP?
SMTP, yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Well, that was filmed. That was. I mean, that's what they use in the film industry. That's where.
Right. But like when it comes to multicam kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so like in that regard, if you have one of those really professional cameras, it's much easier. But what if you just have consumer cameras and or maybe if you're filming a music video, why do you have to go through all this nonsense when you can just...
Well, even with the SMTP, would it if you had a camera, I mean, the software I had didn't support that. I know that. I mean, I had a pretty good camera when I tried to do the multicam setup, but so it's still analyzing. It finished.
Okay, so do you see what it did?
Wow.
It just spreads everything across, and you can actually play it.
Okay, so
seems like it crunched up what it had to do.
I see that it took the block of media that you put down there, all just bunched together, and it looks like it synced it.
Let's take a look at it.
I mean, there's only one way to know for sure. Just to actually watch it.
I had a totally different view of I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
We'll just see how it goes.
It's totally
I
insane.
think it can be both. My parents have been married for 28 years last month. And
you see it peaks because the two audio sources are playing at the same time.
Right.
After 2 weeks of knowing each other.
And now we're gonna go into multi-editing. What you would need to do, select all tracks and go tools, multi-camera, create multi-camera track. So what it does is it takes both of the video sources,
puts them together,
and they're like all in one kind of a sequence.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
And whatever you see the pluses, you see that, and then now we're gonna go into enabling multicam screen. So it'll give us two sources. Right now the second source didn't come in yet, but if we go, you see?
Nice.
And then you can go 1 or 2. Like, I mean, you've done it on Final Cut, right? So like say if you're playing right now, you can switch between...
Pure magic.
I put just...
It's magical.
I just put 2 and it switches to the other cam.
Nor do I think
so when you switch it like that, then that will then... It will rectify itself in the timeline, or that's just to check?
It makes a cut.
It makes a cut then,
yeah.
okay.
Every time you make a switch...
So you can almost
do...
You could almost do like a live switching. You can watch it through and switch
exactly.
That's neat.
I mean, sometimes you may be off a little bit, but then you can go back into the timeline, kind of zoom in. And then let's say, this is where we did the cut, right? And you can just move this. I don't know, I'm a Premiere guy, but essentially this is what you would do, and then you see it's still on this one.
Very cool.
And then okay, well anyway, you get the point, right? You get the idea. Like so and what it did is it took the original audio source into this multicam editing.
So now we're not peaking, it's just got that one
source. We're not peaking because it just takes out the rest of them. And there's other things in the program, like say if you go to, like say if it didn't perfectly match, you can
try really hard. I like their attitude.
which is like.
So I mean, if you do it normally, it just sort of tries.
If there's a lot of background noise, or let's say the second camera, like we're using the handheld, like one of those point and shoot kind of cameras, the still cameras. And if it's too far away from the original audio source, like where we're talking, like for instance, right? Then the background noise, let's say if there's other people talking and everything, it may be not probably, on track or something. And then you just try really hard. I mean, in our case, everything synced up properly.
And you were outside. I mean, so the sound was...
And you know what's funny? There was music playing.
I noticed that.
And even though it was playing, it's still synchronized. And
I've done multi-camera shoots where I've been filming them and I've given the tapes to an editor and I'm like, I don't know what I just figured they'll figure it out. But I haven't edited it myself. But looking at this plugin changes the way, and I'm not just saying this, it changes the way I see the possibility of using multi-camera shoot. I mean, now I see that I might not have done multi-camera, but this is so easy, why not? Why not do it?
Right. Is it worth it? $150? I mean,
I would say it's worth it, yeah.
You think it's worth it?
Yeah.
PluralEyes just released the Premiere Pro plugin for Premiere Pro CS4 and CS5. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it to the test. To do that, we're gonna go into Premiere CS5 and we're gonna import some clips. Alright, so these are the clips. This is the video of the good audio, meaning this audio track is the one that we need, that was recorded with the microphone, and this is the B cam. Okay, so we're gonna put it right above this, pretty much anywhere we want. Okay, and it's MOV. All right, the audio track of it is right here. That's the audio track. All right, so according to the tutorial of the PluralEyes for Premiere CS4, CS5, we're gonna have to do this, the following. Go to File, Export, Final Cut Pro, XML. Okay, and we're gonna have to save this particular XML file right here into the directory, and I'm gonna put it pretty much in the same directory where all the Premiere files of this particular project are. So let's save this, and then we're gonna have to open PluralEyes, which is pretty much a standalone application, unlike what it is for Sony Vegas Pro. Okay, so in this case it's a standalone application, like I said, and you can just open it up, and we should open this particular XML file right here within PluralEyes. And let's see. Okay, so we're opening the XML file. In this case we are finding it here. It's supposed to be, that's the XML file, and we have to click preserve order according to the tutorial, and the sequence is this one. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and sync it up. It's gonna analyze it, and we'll return back after it's done. Okay, it returned an error, so I'm gonna go ahead and sync again. Hit the sync, see what happens. Error. Okay, so it looks like the beta version of PluralEyes for Premiere CS4 and CS5 does not work, returning an error. And this is the latest beta version, the PluralEyes 1.2.1. I'm gonna attempt to run this setup again, meaning the same XML file, opening it and trying to match the audio tracks while having the Premiere Pro CS5 opened, because in the previous attempt it was not open, so maybe that's why it doesn't work. I also have to mention that the video tracks are in AVCHD codec, and the MOV, which is high definition. The AVCHD is 1920 by 1080 I interlaced, 60 frames per second, and the MOV is 720. As you may see, it's pretty small compared to the 1921. So let's go ahead and try this. Same thing, it just returns an error. I'm trying to understand why it does not work. Could be the file format, like AVCHD, maybe it's not supporting it, but as you have experienced, it does not work. So you mentioned that you have been using PluralEyes for some time, and when did you start? What can you tell about this plugin? Your own experience.
I started PluralEyes, I think it was definitely about a few months ago. Starting to get a big buzz on it. It's a great concept. I've had it work 100%, and I've had it not work 100%. But if I were to say good versus bad,
is it worth it? Is it worth the $150? For
me, it is. It's worth it because I mentioned earlier I had one project alone that was a 3-hour shoot for a live band with 7 cameras. 7 cameras, and in about 45 minutes, PluralEyes synced the whole concert up, except for 2 clips, which I found their homes eventually. Didn't take long, but that probably would have taken me 8 hours to do.
Like the whole day?
So I basically hit sync, walked away for 45 minutes and did other work for 45 minutes, came back and it did the work for me. So that job in itself paid for itself. But I do 60, 70 projects a year, so it's going to work. And if it doesn't work every time, all right, I got to go back to the old way, or maybe it'll get me halfway there. but sometimes it works 100%. So has it worked perfectly for me every time? No.
Would you recommend it?
Absolutely, and I do.
So you saying that the math, the whole, background optimization and everything, synchronization actually works. And what are the disadvantages you find besides, those two clips that you didn't match up? I mean,
not that it's pretty
user friendly.
Yeah, it's set up pretty simple. I haven't explored all the options. You showed us that whole try really hard if it doesn't nail it the first time, and to be honest with you, I've never used that myself.
You never used it?
No, honestly, I'll hit sync, and if it doesn't work, I'll try to see what I can do on my end to make it a little easier, and if I'll do it again, if it doesn't work, then I'll just do it my old way. But I haven't explored all the options, so I can't honestly say I set it up properly every single time. But it looks pretty easy to take in.
So it's user-friendly, you're saying?
I think it is.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how many stars would you give it?
For $150, 5.
5?
Yeah.